Hello and welcome to the Happy Life Coding episode 36. So as usual, we're going to contribute to an open source project. And I don't know if you remember, if you were there in the last session, we tried to add in our application the URL of the GitHub pages website in our GitHub pages CLI. Anyway, this week I had the pleasure to have a guest that will help us to fix that. So we're going to contribute to the Java library to access to GitHub API, and I have the pleasure to invite Guillaume Smith. Just here. Welcome, Guillaume.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for accepting my invitation to contribute to the project. I saw that you were contributing to the project. So
yeah, I contributed quite a lot to it, mostly for our Quarkus GitHub bot. We needed quite a few features that weren't present in the API. So, well, we added them. And also a couple of other features. And yeah, so very happy to help you contribute to it because it's, in my opinion, it's an important part of the Java ecosystem automation around the GitHub projects, and it's very useful.
Okay, cool. So Lego is here. Lego is one of my usual followers.
Hi.
He comes every time. He's French as well. I met him once when in real because I started this live stream during the pandemic, and he was so we did one Paris Java user group session, and I had the opportunity to meet him in real life. So that was fun. Anyway, so I'm going to share my screen so you can maybe have a look here. Share screen. Okay. So do you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So the page I was interested, the part we were interested to contribute into was this part of the API pages.
Yes.
Especially this attribute HTML underscore URL that will give us if you have a GitHub pages project, it will give you it will return the URL of the site, and I actually tested it just before. So I just typed curl, giving my username, enter my password, and I provided so Sunix blog.sunix.org is my GitHub pages repo, and it's returning the right value here as HTML URL. But the problem is that if I let's open this code. The problem is that it is not available in the project, the GitHub API. So,
by the way, do you know what's the output if GitHub Pages is not enabled?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's something we will need to check to make sure that it doesn't throw an error or whatever.
So if we take, let me check if I have a repo without GitHub, github.com. This one doesn't have any regular pages. Okay. Paste. Hello Tomcat Kubernetes. I'm copying my password.
Okay, so you have a not found error. Okay.
Let me try again. Yes, okay. I'm trying.
Yeah,
again.
I'm not surprised. It's explaining how you get your GitHub page. So
okay.
I suppose that's expected, but we need to take it into account to avoid throwing an error or things like that. Or
Okay.
maybe we can throw an error.
I think we can throw an error.
Yeah, we can do that at first and see with Liam what he thinks about it. But okay.
Okay.
So as far as I can see, you are getting that from a GitHub repository. So I think I would add an appropriate method to the GH repository object.
So if I go, so I have cloned the project. So where do we start?
Well, yeah. So the first thing to start is make your font bigger because I'm old.
Okay, let me try. That's how do I do that?
Try to. Okay, no, it's okay. Full screen, it's relatively. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Oh, it doesn't. Is this?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good.
Okay.
So if you go to SRC main Java, you will see that you have all these GH objects. So
yes,
are all the endpoints of the entry points for the API. And if you go to the bottom, you will see GH repository.
I can.
Yeah, or you can look for it.
Yes, this one, I guess.
Exactly. So basically, this one is the entry point for everything related to a repository. Yeah. So you have a ton of data, and then you have a few methods to get the data from it. So usually what we do when the data is in a separate endpoint, we don't include it automatically in the repository object, and we create a method specific to getting this information. So my guess is that in our case, we would create a GH pages object.
Okay.
And, or maybe even GH repository pages object to make sure that we don't clash with
anything else.
Anything else later, yeah. So we have done that for the discussion. The discussion is a GH repository discussion. So I think it makes sense to start with GH repository pages. Then in any case, we can discuss that with Liam later, but just adjusting a page, but I would start with that.
Okay, so let's start doing something.
Yes. So create your GH repository pages class.
Page or pages? Pages.
Pages, yes, I would say.
Okay, class. Okay. And then.
And so the idea is then to just include the attributes for the data you have. So you just
so
have
it has
them.
So has to extend.
That's something to discuss. I haven't checked if you can do something on the pages after. Delete the GitHub pages site.
Like.
So what I'm unsure of is if we will make this object an interactive one or not. It will depend of what you can do with it. You can update.
You
can update things. So what I have, yeah. So this is a bit of an hybrid object because you don't have an ID. And I think that yes, interactive object comes with yeah. So this one has the root, and GH object, I think it has the ID, the null ID that created that. So you don't want that. But I think you want a GitHub interactive object. So extends GitHub interactive object.
Okay, what's the difference with just an object?
Basically, GitHub interactive object is a very low-level class. The only thing that you have there is the root GitHub client instance, and the GH object is really about an object in the API, and an object has an ID, has a null ID, has been created at some point, updated at some point. So it's GitHub interactive object. Yes.
So, okay. So, but is does the JH object extends that one, or?
Yes, exactly. It extends that one, and it adds a
that
few things.
More
and you don't have them for your object. In your case, it's a very basic data structure. It doesn't include an ID, an ID, or whatever.
So I don't need this is fair enough.
Yes, exactly. Then you will need some constructors. Have a look at what is done. Yeah, no, it should be okay. Just so now we can just add our attributes. So as you can see, the attributes, you just put them in camel case, and Jackson will do the mapping between the camel case and the underscores. So you just have to map the. So maybe let's start simple, and we can just map the first one you wanted, the HTML URL.
So how does it do anything with the underscore or not?
No, just use camel case. Jackson will do the work for you. Yes, camel case. Fix it with camel case. So the code base is not exactly consistent. You have a mix of everything, but I think for the new classes we are going with camel case. Then you add a getter, a public getter, so that you can get the info.
Do I have a?
No, you don't
Yes,
need a
yes.
getter. You can. These objects are so the objects are basically mutable, and when you want to update them, you need a specific method anyway. So that's basically it.
Okay.
For the object, and then you will need the method. So one thing you will have to do is add the license header, add some Javadoc. You have so in the project, Spotless is used to check the formatting, the Javadoc, and things like that. And for each object, you will need a Javadoc, and again for each method. So, but that you can do later on your own. You can typically you have an example here. We try to add a link to the REST API documentation so that people can find the documentation easily. And so then you have what we want is to add a method to GH repository to contact the REST API, get the info we want, and include it in your object.
Okay.
So GH repository is a huge one, if I remember correctly.
So is there any rules about why to do that, or just or should I just add at the end?
Yeah, I think you can add it at the end.
Okay, let's.
So we usually try to not use getters for things doing an API call, but in this case, it makes a lot of sense to do that. If you have a look at, typically have a look at the getTeams method in this very class. You will see how things are done. So basically, what we will do is have the exact same thing with the org. Then you build your request from the root. So the root object is a GitHub instance. So the GitHub is the root client, which does the request for you.
Okay.
And then you create your request. This get API tail URL, it basically builds the URL up to your repository URL. So here you will just have to have pages instead. And then you have a couple of methods to transform the result to an object. So in this case, it uses two iterable because
it's not a list.
Yeah, you have several of
them. Just one item.
But for one item, I think you have something else, but we will just discover it with the completion.
Okay, so let me copy that again. Can I do that?
Yeah, so maybe before the static classes, and before the private ones, let's try to put the public method together. So yes, maybe download dispatch. Yeah, I would just put it there after the dispatch one.
Okay, that so it's not should return GitHub pages. Should I name it? Let me have a look to this. Get pages.
Yes, yes. You can call it get pages. I don't think we will find any better name. And then you can drop the GH organization thing.
Oh, okay. I get owner name.
We won't need it.
Really?
Yeah, you can just delete this line.
But do we need or does he know already that this is the?
Yes.
Does he need he needs the repo, no?
Yeah, just have a look at get API tell URL. Have a look at this method. Click on it and you will see what it's doing.
Of what?
Get API tell URL, the one with.
Oh.
Yeah, so see what it does. It adds the full name of the repo.
Okay, all good.
So you should be good.
Okay.
The full name is the owner plus the repository itself.
Okay.
So if you get back to your non-compiling method, this is the easiest way to find it, I think.
I'm just trying to close. Okay, pages, and then it should be pages, I guess.
Yes.
And
then you have so you remove this two iterable thing to set, and you can use fetch
directly. Okay.
No, you not to set, but instead of to set, you use fetch. Fetch, not to.
Fetch.
Fetch. Just fetch. And with this method, you just have to define the class.
That, and it should work.
Yes, that should be.
What's missing? Come on.
No. No, it's all good.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Okay, so if you do so, when you have not found, I think you will throw an error. So that will probably have to be discussed at some point, but for now it's good enough, I would say. And so
okay, so if it's not found, that will throw an exception, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you usually decide the case depending on the case, if it's right behavior or if you want something different. I think it's probably better to do that this way rather than returning a null object. So let's do it that way for now, and we can see what Liam thinks and if we have feedback from users. So that should be it. I think, if I remember correctly, so the injection of the root object in the GitHub interactive object is a bit magic. So we will see how it goes when we write the test. But yeah, maybe we will have to add some constructors. We will see. But,
okay, so now how can I test that? Or
yes, so the next step is to add a test for that. And you should have a big one. GH repository test, I would say.
Okay. I don't know how I can. Sorry, I'm new to this IDE, so no problem. Found. Okay, so
just go at the bottom, I would say.
very good there. Oh, it's okay. It's ordered by. It's ordered by. Okay.
Yeah, just add a new test. Add test and public void get pages.
Okay, and I guess like.
And you have so you have something to get a repository.
There's that thing.
But I think we will create a specific one to enable GitHub pages specifically.
Okay.
So this one will create a Tonk one.
Yeah.
So at some point, if you go through all the API for this, being enabling GitHub pages, etc., then maybe it would make sense to create a Tonk repository, then enable GitHub pages, get the data from there, things like that. But for now, we will create a static one, and you can use something like.
Oh, this is where we want to.
The GitHub get organization, then you have the organization and you have the name of the project. And I will create a new project there.
So this is the organization where you have some projects that are used for the test, right?
Yes, exactly. It's designed explicitly for tests.
And so should we use this one or?
No, I will. I'm creating a new one.
Okay.
And I will. It's this one. And I will enable GitHub pages there. Oh, yes, I need to add some content to it. Let me add some content there and
okay.
Okay, let's see if it's enough to enable GitHub pages. Main branch, save. Okay. So it's now enabled.
Okay.
So basically what you have to do here is to get your GH repository pages data and test that the HTML URL is something like the one I will paste to you.
Get pages. Okay. So there's okay. Is that
I think it's yeah, you can. I think we have a SRD around, which is always better. Let me check, but I think we have it on. So you would do some assert that your object is equal to. Oh no, we don't have that. We don't have SRG.
yeah.
Let me check. Oh no, we don't have SRG. So just do standard. I think what is used to. Oh, see, there's assert that, but it's coming from. Oh, it's coming from. It's coming from the parent. So yeah, you can just do assert that. Something like let me. Yeah, something like that should so most so it is. I think it just is. And you.
Oh, I think it's
yeah. Get HTML URL and is the one I pasted.
Okay.
Then you can remove all the crap at the end of the line and format this properly, please.
Is there something like?
Yes.
But you have Maven goals to format now, or not?
No, so it doesn't format automatically, but it complains if it's not formatted as it should be. Okay. And then it gives you the command line you should execute to make it format the whole thing. So it's a two-step thing, but yes, we will. Anyway, we will clean this up after that. So normally, this should work. What you have to know now is that all the tests are disconnected from GitHub.
Okay. So this is why I have this.
Yes. So everything is used with WireMock to avoid testing things always on GitHub. So what you need to do is to record the snapshot of your test, and WireMock will record everything, store it in a directory, and after that you can run your test, and it will work. Okay. So for that, if you have a look, so it's interesting. Go to the GitHub API website.
Yes.
And have a look at the contributing MD.
Yeah, I think I had that open. Open it. Yes, that one. Okay, so you want it.
And you have a paragraph taking a snapshot. So what's a bit difficult is that you have to use a combination of the things that are there. So what you want to do is npm install -d test GitHub text snapshot. So this part you want.
Take snapshot, yes. Test github.org.
Or this one you don't want. And then you want the -d test. And we will put the name of our test there. And then you need a hash and your method so that you only record the execution of your particular method. So yes, this. Then
the name.
Yeah, you can just you don't need the package, but yeah. So this one.
Really?
And then you point to the method with hash and the name of the method, so it would be get pages.
Or without?
Okay. No, without the parentheses.
Okay, let me try. Yeah, I think it deserves something like a tutorial to do all this part.
So this is where the test is executed. Okay, so it didn't work. Let's have a look.
Oh, I still have this error. It is.
So it says
not found a git JH file,
yes.
not found exception. It's like it's still in disconnected mode.
So what I'm wondering is, do you have? So you need I think you need to be connected.
You mean?
Yeah, you need a .github file, something like that with a credential. I don't know if you have that.
No. Okay. How do I create that?
Let me. So do you have a token?
Yes, I have a token.
So you have a token. So let me check what the.
Does it work with the environment variable? Maybe.
It should, but you probably don't want to use environment variable while you're recording things. Let me have a look. How does it?
Because here it says set the GitHub out environment variables.
Yes, so that's one possibility. The problem is that you have to do it every time. And so what I used is something like that. Let me. So basically, GitHub file in your home.
Yeah, you can paste it in the not in the private chat, but in the comments, so I can.
Yeah. Okay.
I can highlight that.
It would be except I can't comment
Really? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I'm not logged in, so maybe there's that.
Okay.
Oh,
No.
and so it should be on two separate lines. You have your login, and then you have your OAuth token. And and then the API should just
Okay, let me give a try.
I'm just checking that I have done that exactly for this one.
Is that in the same?
Yeah, let me check. I'm wondering if
same line, or?
I didn't use something else. Connect using. Yes, so that's the GitHub file should work.
So is it that in the same line or in?
No, exactly like that.
Okay.
And you need to put
your
tokens in.
I will paste it somewhere else.
Yes.
Because it is recorded. So. Okay.
And what I'm a bit unsure is that maybe you need some additional.
If I try again.
Some additional permissions to.
You mean to the repo or what?
Yes, because there are information about the certificates and things like that and the status of your project. So I'm not sure that.
It doesn't work. Or should I disable?
So I sent you an invite.
Okay. Check.
And probably. I think it's probably needed to get the information.
That one?
Yes, that one.
Okay. So
and let's see if it's any better. Oh, also remove the existing files, the recordings, because if I remember correctly, if you have some existing recordings, it will keep doing the same error. So have a look.
So where should it be?
So it's SRC test resources, something like that. You should have the recording for the method.
I see.
GitHub API now, maybe, and scroll up. Yeah. You have resources there, and see, go to org.
Okay, and I should have some.
And you should have yeah. So in GH repository test, the one in green. You will see that you have a new directory with your pages. I just remove that. And see if it's any better. Yay! So that's something I want to change. I need to do that. It's very annoying because when you take a new snapshot, it doesn't delete the existing snapshot. So if you were in a bad state, also this is the formatting complaining. See?
Okay.
And if you scroll a bit at the bottom, you will see that it says to use this command to fix it. So you just execute it, and it will fix everything for you.
All right. Okay, so that's it, actually.
So there are a couple more things. First, you need the license header.
Okay, that's...
Then you will need to add some doc. And if I were you, while I'm at it, I would add the remaining information you have in the object.
Yeah, okay.
See, so you have a couple more. So for I think you have some nested information, such as the certificates and things like that. And for that, I would just create some static nested class. If you have a look there. So see, for the source, for instance, I would create a static nested class called source with the branch and the path. Same for the HTTPS certificate. I would just create a static nested class with the data.
Okay, in the same
yes,
in the same object.
Yes. For the status, I don't know if you have all the values documented. Let me check. Yes. So for the status, for instance, you will have an enum.
Yeah.
And so for that we have a util. So I don't remember its name. Enum utils typically.
Okay.
So have a look at enum utils. Yes, so the first method. So one thing that happens a lot with GitHub is that they add a new values to a previous enum. And when they do that, the deserialization of the data will fail because Jackson can't find a valid value for your enum.
Okay.
So what we are doing here is that for each enum, we add an unknown value at the end, and we use that as a default.
Okay.
So when you get an enum, what we do. Let me find an example. It will be better. Where did I add some? Maybe the workflow run one. Yes. So have a look at look for status. The class name status. It will be an enum in GH workflow run. Oh yes, so you have an example here. Yes.
Yeah.
So see, in the GitHub event enum, we added an unknown value, so that worst case you end up with that. So if you have a look at, so here you have all the valid values, and at the end we add this. And what we do, so this is important, we use a string in the object. So if you go back to where you were just before. I don't know where. Yes. No, not this one. The GH for Florent probably. Yes. So click on event. Right click
event.
on event. Yes. You see it's a string.
Yeah. Okay.
So why do we do that? We use a string so that we can get any value coming from GitHub, and Jackson will just accept it.
Okay.
And only in the getter, we convert the value to the enum value.
Okay.
So that we are sure that whatever comes from GitHub will be okay for Jackson. And then we do that in the... So it's a small thing. We should probably have a special serializer, a deserializer for enums and things like that. But yeah, well, it's something for another day.
Okay.
But,
I think I'm gonna check later for that.
And so yeah, so important if you want it to work. If you change anything to the request that your method is doing, your test method is doing, always drop the previous recordings for your method.
Yeah.
Okay. But in your case, it shouldn't be needed because your call has been done. WireMock has recorded everything, and then so you have the full JSON. And then what you will do is just get more info, extract more info from this JSON. But the queries, the request will be the same. The JSON will be the same, so you don't need any more recordings. You just need to add some data structures in your GitHub repository pages class, and it should be pretty much okay.
One other thing I wanted to check is what if I want to include that or test that with my Quarkus application? So so that you had.
Yes. First, I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you a recording.
Yes.
It's interesting because you will probably need it for your test. If you want to test things, you will want to see the values that have been obtained from GitHub. So go back to the SRC test resources where we were. So yes, here you go there, and you see you have the JSON for the request.
Okay, cool.
And if you go to mappings, the mapping. So this is where you got the yes. So if you go to mappings, you get the full WireMock recording with HTTP status and things like that. So sometimes when you don't understand what's going on and you're surprised by the queries that have been done or whatever, you can have a look at the recording of WireMock and see what that's doing.
So that's a full one, I guess, on this.
Yes, this is just the mapping that has been obtained.
Okay, I guess. Okay, that's the full request.
And there you have the headers, you have the request status and things like that, but you don't have the data, and the data is extracted.
Okay.
You see body file name. You had something body file name in the mapping file, and then it points to this one.
Okay, all good.
So once you have understood all that, it's very simple to get through this thing.
It's a lot clearer now. Definitely.
And so this is the GitHub API part. So once you have added the missing objects, that you have added the documentation, the Java doc and things like that, you can create your pull request, send it. What you need to do before sending a pull request is to, basically when you will create the pull request, it will ask you to execute a command. And so I want to put that in the contributed guide because it's only in the pull request template at the moment. And so if you go on the GitHub API, in the GitHub API repository again, on GitHub. No, oh yes, or you can, yes. So just have a look at the pull request template, the pull request one.
Oh yes, this one.
You will see, yeah. So you have a checklist, and in the checklist you have MVN -d enable CI clean install site.
Okay.
So this is the thing you need to run before pushing your pull request. It will execute all the tests, build the Java log and things like that, and it will. It also run a few additional checks, and yeah, better run it before creating your pull request.
Okay, but isn't there a workflow for that is doing that? Why?
Oh yes, you will have a workflow, but personally, I always run things locally before pushing a pull request, because if you end up having the workflow complaining, especially when it's your first pull request, it's a good idea to make a first good impression. So better make sure that things are perfect on your side before creating the PR and have CI run it.
All good. Okay,
all good?
do it. Yeah.
And the last part you were interested in it was, I want to use it in Quarkus. What should I do?
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing, create your pull request, get it in, and after that, we will get a release of the GitHub API.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's imagine that the release has been done and we have a new GitHub API version. You can go to the Quarkus GitHub API project. This is an extension that I'm maintaining.
I think I've opened that previously. It's that Quarkiverse.
Yes.
That one? Yeah.
Yes, exactly that one. So basically you will have to update the version of the GitHub API we are using here. So if you open the POM XML, you will see that you have the GitHub API version, line 28. That's what you're trying to do. Just go line 28.
Okay.
There.
I can use so for testing I can use the snapshot version, right?
Yes, of course. You can use the snapshot version and deploy it. And so one important part you will have to do is that obviously we want that change to work in native.
Yes.
And as you understood it, we use Jackson to deserialize things, and it's using reflection.
Okay.
So you will have to declare your new class and your new classes. If you add more classes, typically if you add some nested class for the certificates and things like that, you will have to add all those classes to the reflection. So if you have a look at deployment, then you go there and you have the GitHub API .names thing.
Okay. Okay. Import.
And you will see that here there are a ton of objects that I'm registering for reflection.
Okay. So what's the
So scroll all the way to the bottom. and you will see that I add all this in a GitHub simple objects list, and all these objects in the processor, I register them for reflection for GraalVM.
Okay.
Okay. So,
but how to for instance, okay, and that's it.
yes. So for your root object, the GitHub interactive object, you don't have to do it because I scan all the objects extending this object and I register them automatically for reflection because
so
I know.
So I don't need that to do anything in this.
Not file. For your root object, but
but
add
for the nested
classes.
one. Okay.
You know the nested classes you will add for
yes.
the HTTPS certificate and things like that. You will have to put them here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So these nested classes you will create, they will need to be there because they won't extend the interactive object.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes. Sure. Okay. I was wondering if this kind of object is if reused somewhere else, or
yeah, I don't think so. They are very specific to.
Okay.
Basically, they are saying so. The source is where your where your GitHub pages are coming from, and the HTTPS certificates are really about the certificates of your GitHub pages. So I don't think it makes sense to do something. Just add some static nested classes, and it will be okay. And add them to this file. So doing that is only needed for native.
Okay.
But obviously, the whole purpose of this Quarkus extension is to get this API working native. So if you don't do it, basically every time there is a new GitHub API version, I go through the changelog and I add everything that is new there. So in any case, it will end up there.
Okay, so that's I guess that's pretty it. Then
and then you will have your face there in the contributor section.
Okay. Okay. All good. I think we have everything. So, and the time is over. So, thank you very much, Guillaume.
You're welcome. It's one thing I won't have to do. So,
and yes, and something else maybe I would try to do is also maybe improve the contributing file.
Yes. So that
I can.
I'm interested in your feedback, and I think I will work on it also at some point to make sure that all the tips and information are properly documented here. Typically, the GitHub, the .github file to put your token there is very useful. And the good thing with this one is that once you have a .github file with your token, every time you use the GitHub API, you can just connect. You do GitHub connect, and it will go to that file and connect with your credentials.
That's
quite interesting.
So for my application, if I create an application using this, it will also check this.
Yes.
This file, right? Okay, cool.
So it does it if you use the connect method without any parameters. You have several methods to connect.
Okay.
You have one without parameters, and in this case, it tries to go to the .github file and things like that. But you also have method with parameters where you can put your username and your OAuth token yourself. And in that case, it doesn't use that particular file. It just tries to connect with parameters you have given to the method, which is perfectly fine and what you would want.
Okay. All good. So yeah, thank you. I think we can wrap up. So thank you very much for helping me on that. And yes, it will be a pleasure to contribute to this project. and yes, finish that one, and maybe providing more contribution. That was very cool.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So yeah, so thank you also for the attendees. So thank you, Lego, for your messages, and yeah. So see you next week see you next week. Yeah, same time, same channel. Bye bye.
See you. Have a nice weekend. Bye.